With just 100, you can make dozens of X's with intraday trading. Of course, such trading implies high risks if you want to achieve the result in just a couple of days. But there is a solution to not lose money. In this video, I will show you how to reduce the number of stop losses by 90% with just one chip. It will be suitable for beginners and for everyone who has a couple of hours to analyze charts and who has an incredible desire to make money. We're gonna start a little bit from afar by analyzing the tools which we are going to need to make the trades. First tool is the RSI Divergence indicator. It is a tool that allows us to automatically find the divergence between the chart and the oscillator. What do I mean by divergence? Look, on the chart we have two minimum values. So we draw a line and we can see that the chart is falling here and here. But the indicator, I mean RSI oscillator, is rising. That's why we have this divergence, that the chart is falling and the oscillator is growing. And then the chart will always follow the oscillator. So it will grow. I hope it's clear. You can add such a tool on TradingView absolutely free of charge. Just go to the indicators panel and write here RSI Divergence. Here is a completely standard indicator from TradingView. I will also use the knowledge of technical analysis, and we are going to be drawing trend lines because I really like to trade by trend breakouts because those trades are as confident as possible and less risky. So when I saw an opportunity to make a new trade, I made a deposit of 100 to my new account as an experiment. I've had to max out a deposit from this small amount, so I'm going to show you the trades I have made. I'd like to remind you that all of my trades could be copied by you automatically and absolutely for free. All you need to do is to subscribe to my channel from the link in the description and connect to my account. Also in the channel I have posted login and investor's password from this account, so it means each of you can see for yourself how I trade. So here we can see that we've got a trend breakout. We could have taken the trade, but I didn't see it, so we're looking for the next trend's breakdown. Here we have an expanding wedge pattern. Let's see what we will break through. Of course, it is desirable for us to break through and test the upper border, but now we see that our chart is moving from the upper border to the lower border, and moreover we are breaking through the lower border. So here we have a new trend. Now we will draw a trend line and we'll see where we have another top. We needed to draw a new trend line more precisely. Well, here the new top is forming. We can see on the line chart how it looks like. So we have a new trend line. Let's remove those lines so that it doesn't interfere us. Here we have formed a level from which we can enter the trade if this trend line will be broken. Let's take a look what's going on here. We have a level breakout and finally we have a breakout of our trend line. So here, after testing this trend line, there is an excellent opportunity to make a trade. And also here we have a bullish divergence, but it is drawn very strangely. In fact, the bullish divergence looks like this. Here we have a new, let's say, local value, and here the chart starts to grow. But thanks at least for such signal, what the most people will do, they will take long from here and put stop somewhere here. But what about take? For example, let's take the Fibonacci lines, put them somewhere like this and compare it to another indicator which called Imbalance Zone. You can also find it in the search, just write Imbalanced Zone. From the also frozen with 1,300 users, this indicator helps me find goals which we can generally reach. But here we don't have any uncovered imbalance except this one. So let's assume that most of you would have opened a trade, well, at least from 1 to 6 before the 0.618 retracement, and most likely you would have been knocked out on your stop. So let's see what will happen. But before it, I'm going to tell you a main thing that will save most of your trades from falling. Because if you have not yet learned to think and look at the stock market like a professionals, well, my friends, memorize one very simple thing, which of course will reduce the number of your trades, but it will also reduce the number of your stop losses and crappy trades. Let's memorize where our stop loss is, mark a horizontal line here, and make one very simple move. We move our entry point to the line where we have a stop loss. Approximately here we will set the take, and now we can move our trade. Let's assume that we will have it up to the level of 618 by Fibonacci, and we can make the stop shorter by moving it to, for example, to this level. But we keep in mind that most of you would open a trade at this level, and we would have a stop right here. Of course, there is a high probability that such trades will not be taken, because we may have a retest, and then the chart will start its corrective movement to this fall. Yes, it's really possible. I repeat, this thing will significantly reduce the numbers of your trades, but let's be honest, most of your trades are probably unprofitable. So let's see how this trade will play out. Look, perfectly. We just have this thing that happens. The stop loss is knocked out first. You think that everything is going against me again. The stock market goes after my stop loss on purpose, and then it reaches all those targets which you originally planned. Look at what trade I managed to make. I was delighted with the fact that instantly I managed to increase my deposit literally 3 or maybe 4 times. Because of the first trade, we took the profit with the amount of 345 from the 0.52 lot position. I entered just the full amount of my deposit, I mean from all of my 100. So let's look at the second trade. Here I realize that we don't have any strong horizontal level, so I take the same as in the previous situation. Here I put my limit. So the imbalance indicator shows us that we have a huge amount of imbalances at the top, and it is clear that we will go to take them. But there is an offensive situation, and the chart, even without retesting this fallen wedge, just flies up, and my limit remains untouched. Yes, it's really frustrating, but it happens. Keep that in mind. Like I said, this tool, if it works, will give you an incredibly entry point from which you can pull your trade for a very long time if you know how to work with the position. What do we see here? In general, I see a pro trade here. I'm very interested to see where we have the highest volume. Let's start it somewhere here. With the help of a volume profile, I'm putting a horizontal line on this volume profile, and I realize that potentially from here we can have a reversal, so I'm not looking for any breakdowns. But there is an interesting moment here. Yes, first of all, we are approaching a very strong resistance level. Secondly, we see that here we have a bearish divergence. That is, the stock market is growing, the maximums are updating, but the RSI oscillator is falling. That's why we have a bearish divergence here. Two strongest factors for the reversal, plus we have a trend line breakout here. I understand that here, after we have 2-3 candlesticks formed behind the trend line, I realize that we are going to fall. So we take the short from here. We put our stop already behind the volume profile. I don't put the limit here because here I understand that we have a very strong level, so I don't want to miss this trade. And let's take more Fibonacci lines and see. And my nearest goal is that my trade will be at least 0.5 or maybe 0.618. So let's see how the situation will work out, although ideally we can pull the trade up to here. Well, the second trade closed in plus. It brings me 1000 of pure profit, and thus in just 2 trades I increase my deposit from 100 to 1362. The most frustrating thing is that after that we continue to fall, and it goes quite aggressively. In the end we update even this minimum value. Of course, I have already removed the limit here, and of course we could have earned much more. But within the framework of my marathon, I have fulfilled my goal. And I remind you that these 2 trades could be automatically copied by you, and it will be absolutely free of charge. You could increase your deposit without doing anything. Of course, there are risks involved, but for those who want to continue copy trading on this account, I'm going to continue to increase my deposit. And of course, my trading will be much more conservative, but if you want to copy my trades, just subscribe to my Telegram channel from the link in the description, and there you will find a way to contact me, and I will also publish the data from this account in my Telegram channel, so any of you can log in to the profile using the investment password and see for yourself how I trade. Thank you for watching this video. The Take Profit team worked on it. Bye bye everyone.